An update on the car, even though I don't have internet, so who knows when this might hit YouTube, but I'll go over it anyways. I already showed that in the previous video. Door bars were started, but now the deck bracing is done. 6x6 plates welded to the floor, welded to the door bars, same thing with the doors themselves. Got my train cooler in. See the passenger protective door bar. And the driver's one is tacked in. I ran out of welding wire again, so I'll have to finish that. Plus, I'll do X bracing on this side. I'll have one coming down to here, and then back down to the bar down there. Starter solenoid's in right there. I know it's a GM, but I run a starter solenoid with the terminal on the starter crossed over, so it'll hook up direct. The reason I do this is because I've had fires with battery cables getting cut going through the firewall, and this way there's no power going through the firewall except for the engine, and it goes through a trick new modified distributed protector. So I got a piece of heavy gauge tubing that goes through the distributed protector to run the wire directly through it. I think that'll work out a lot better instead of smashing wires and grounding wires out. It's protected with rubber, and also, you can tell, a little bit of a shrink wrap or heat shrink. My wires are hooked up. It's actually been run. Just ran it by pouring gas in the carburetor, filling up the float bowl, enough to heat the motor up. My wires are coming off the switches, so I might solder them, or we'll see. Maybe I'll just tape them really good again. Gonna have to get some adapters to hook up the tranny lines because I've changed it. Went from hard lines to rubber lines. The hood started. Not quite done with it. Put some temporary braces in, tacked in there because the hood's all messed up. I know you're probably wondering what the huge flaps are for. Got an idea from the Smith brothers. I noticed he had smaller ones, which I'll cut these down and change it. And I was thinking that'd be a good place to put some advertising or stickers on too. So I just thought it looked cool, so I'm gonna cut them down to about there and run them that way. Still gotta weld the doors, but I gotta finish the door bars first, and then weld the hood down and all that too. I'll go over a trick here for you. Let me open the door back up. I like to beat this door down. You'll see a lot of people do that. I do it because think of it as an open tin can like that. It crushes a lot easier, but if it's capped off, it's less likely for this to crush in. And I know that's probably doesn't make that much sense to make your doors, but it's really just makes your doors less prone to get punctured. Also, when your door sucks in, it sucks everything else in with it. So pretty soon your tires are sticking out. So if you just fold this over, it gives a little bit more strength. You know, your door won't just collapse. I'll show you the proper way of doing that. First thing you got to do is all these really poor tack welds around here. You need to go over those and redo them. I'll take these areas that stick out, pair of vice grips, crush it, tack weld it, crush it there, all the way down. A bunch of different spots. And the second thing you'll do is a lot of these edges have to be beat down flat. The ones you can beat down flat. And then you just start, working. Usually I work from the edges, because it seems to help glue it down. And then all I do is just, once this gets over the top, that's the only thing you got to worry about. Sometimes you when you're beating it down, make sure it goes over the top of this. Once it starts going over the top of that, it'll all just beat down the same. And then all you're going to do is just, wherever it hits, it'll usually hit around here. All you do is just tack weld it down the best you can, front to rear. I really suggest it on hard tops that don't have the sneak post. I think it makes the whole structure of those cars a lot stronger since you've got no roof structure to them. Like I said, it's been test hard, so I got one battery in it. Everything to the engine is pretty much done. It's been test run. Power string's hooked up, new fan, new radiator. Curb seems to be running good. I don't know if I have to really rebuild it again. I rebuilt it over a year ago because every time, my new thing to do, every time I put a motor away for storage. I test tune it, make sure it's tuned up, and then put it away. So you hate to pull a motor out, even just if it's a few months, and realize that maybe it blew a head gasket or something was wrong with it because you just ripped out of the car without checking it. So, and luckily enough, even though this motor hasn't ran in a year, all I did was pour some gas down the vent up to the float bowl, hit the switch, and it fired first crank. It was running, so that sounds good. Power steering's working, power brakes are working. I got a little stupid, I'll show you. My nice huge 250 amp welder, which welds like crazy, well, I had it set a little too high when I was welding that. I actually burned through the floor. Wondered why the car was on fire. It's because I went right through the brake line. So now I'm going to have to repair the brake line. At the same time, when I was fighting that fire and trying to figure out what to do and messing with that, I didn't notice that. That's why there's duct tape on the seat. A spark could get on the bottom of the seat, and it toasted the seat all the way up. So the duct tape's holding it together now. I might have to get a seat cover because duct tape sucks when it gets all greasy. Fuel line sort of ran. Just waiting for a gas tank, but I don't put the gas tank in until I'm done with the welding. Don't need any more fires. But other than that, weld the doors, weld the hood down. This is going to be one of the first cars in a while that I welded the hood down, just because this hood's so crappy. I've started my all thread, but I ain't happy, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to cut this off, and I should check the hood, and I'm going to run it on the outside here. Bumper's nice and solid. Straight to the frame. The bumper shocks are still in there, but everything's been basically just whacked off flat. The bumper welded straight to it. Sucks it in a lot. These 76s stick out a bit. As you can see, it doesn't stick out as much anymore. They'll normally be like way out to here, which is nice because like this I can shut the garage. New bigger fan. Change the ratio on the pulleys. The pulleys are screwed up, so I changed them to these newer ones, so I think the fan's going to spin faster. Hopefully that'll be a good thing. But other than that, that'd be it. I don't know when you'll see this, but see ya.